everyone. Welcome into the Peace and Love podcast. I'm your host, Siva. I am so thrilled to have you here today. Today's inspiration for the episode came from a question I got in person. It's kind of interesting for me telling people that I'm a coach because a lot of people who aren't interested in personal development, they usually have no clue what that means. So, especially recently telling people, I'm a love coach. Someone asked, are you a sex therapist? No. But as someone who helps people get a lot more love in their life, whether it be personal love, self-love, romantic love, or soulmate friendship love, I'm always here to answer the questions. And so after explaining to this person what I do, they asked, okay, well, since you're a professional, can you explain how one, gets a little bit more comfortable being alone? And I thought that's a really good question. Now, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I put myself out there, I do things alone, but maybe you're just not 100% comfortable. Like maybe you go out and it doesn't feel the same eating alone at a restaurant as it would with friends at a restaurant. And of course, it's never going to feel the same because your friends bring a different energy, right? But it can still feel that same level of comfort. And so today, if you are interested in stepping into your magnetism more, stepping into your confidence, and really feeling safer in the world because you fully trust yourself, this is going to be the episode for you. So if you're thinking, I'm already kind of doing it, this is going to take your game from here to here. And if you're just listening, I'm raising the bar up with my hand, right? So let's jump right into it. Why being alone is going to help you in life. And so I'll get into the nuances of what is being alone. But personally, I think you should spend as much or more time alone versus in relationships. And the same rule applies to just spending time with people. If you don't take that time to get crystal clear on your own energy, it's going to be hard to direct that into different creations that you want to create in your life to the standard that you want to create them, right? So you might be able to spend a lot of time with a friend or with a romantic partner, but if you haven't cultivated your energy alone to get clear on what do you specifically want from a partner and a friend, you won't be able to have that discernment, okay, this is what I want for my life. This is what's going to work, what's not going to work, because you've not even gotten clear for yourself and you haven't gotten strong in your own energy. And so you might not feel that magnetic of a person if you haven't gotten clear on feeling your own energy and amplifying it, if that makes sense. So the first reason why being comfortable in your solo self-love energy is going to help you is because you're going to build confidence. Confidence doesn't come from thinking you're the person. It always starts this way, right? You have to think that you're the person in order to do it. But if you think that you're the person and then the opportunity comes to show up like that person, whatever that may be, your confident self that goes and asks someone for their number, your confident self that goes into a room and walks very elegantly, your confident self that goes on a solo trip alone. All of this is good in theory in your mind, but until you really do it, until you put that one foot in front of another and take that step and actually perform the action, you won't have confidence that is solidified. So when I'm saying, okay, you have to do this in order to build the confidence, of course it starts from a mental thing, but it can't stay a mental thing for too long. If you think that you're that person and then the opportunity comes and you can't show up in that way, every single time you let that fear take over, you don't follow your intuition, it lowers your self-esteem a little bit because you're subconsciously saying to yourself, even though I was invited to speak on stage, I'm not going to do it. And subconsciously, that's telling yourself, that's implying, because I don't think I'm good enough yet. I don't think I'm ready enough yet. I don't think I've got it yet. And so if that opportunity comes and you don't act on it, if you don't put yourself out there, you are keeping yourself back and you're subconsciously implying, I'm not good enough. So the way that this builds confidence for you is when you start showing up alone. going to the restaurant. The first time, it might be a little weird. You're like, this feels slightly uncomfortable, but you're showing yourself, I am worthy of doing this. I can do it. The first time you ask someone for their number, yikes, they might reject me, but I can do it. I'm worthy enough to actually get the number and receive love. So I'm putting myself in the position to actually win. Does that make sense? Until you put yourself in the position to get what you want, you're subconsciously saying, I don't think that I'm good enough. And when you put yourself in the position to win, it doesn't matter if you win or not. It's always going to be a win. Consider that a win in itself. I'm in the position to win, therefore I'm winning. Say for the example of getting someone's number, they might reject you, but the win in itself is that you put yourself in the position to win and get what you want. If you would have not asked, you would have been saying, I'm not good enough. And so it doesn't really matter if it ends up the way you think it will or not, because you're literally aligning yourself with your success. And if that person doesn't want to give you their number, someone else will come along that does, because you're aligning yourself with that I'm good enough, winning, confident energy. And when you exude that confident energy, because you've built confidence, you're going out doing what you want to do on your terms, and you're comfortable with that, you start to have a little bit of magnetism. Ooh, I love to speak on some magnetism because, baby, this is really what gives me splah in my life. When we talk about meeting high quality men, the magnetism is what's going to give you that splah of, oh my gosh, I can't get enough of this girl. I have to see her again. The magnetism, when it comes to soulmate friends, is going to be like, oh my gosh, I want that person to be my bestie. I can't get enough of their energy. When I'm around them, I feel good. And whatever opportunity, whatever thing that you want to create, your magnetism is literally, because it's magnetic, right? It draws it closer. And so when you have that magnetism, it makes your life a lot more fun and a lot more flowing. And think about it like this. How is someone supposed to enjoy your company if you don't even enjoy your own company? The way that literally you can have people approach you, you can have people pay for your dinner, you can make incredible connections, is literally by you being you, having a fantastic time doing whatever you are doing. When people see, oh my gosh, that girl is in her own world, she is having a great time, she's smiling, like, they get curious. Next time you go out in public, see how many people are smiling. And then when you notice that, you put a smile on your face and see how that shifts the energy. See how that changes the environment. Because when you start calling in that magnetic energy, other people will start to notice simply because it uplifts them. Have you ever seen someone that is just so happy and laughing and it just makes you feel better? It works the other way around too. When people see you enjoying yourself, laughing, just like, not, you don't even have to be obnoxious about this. Like, you can just tell when someone's having a good time in their own company with their friends or whatever versus when they are not. You can kind of see when someone maybe feels a little insecure, or when they look a little tired, or when they have kind of an attitude, or something's going on. And this isn't to make you afraid, like, oh my God, everybody can see that I'm insecure. But it's to like let you know, like, hey, when you're relaxed, it shows. And people will have a more easy time relaxing around you when you are relaxed. Because think about it. If you're nervous, if you're anxious, probably other people are too. And everyone else is worried about themselves. Am I, all of this BS. And so when you are someone who's embodied and you're relaxed, it gives other people permission to relax and be embodied as well. And so you'll just have an easier time connecting with people on a deep level, because you're not up here in your head. You're down here in your body. You're coming from your heart, and you're not overthinking, oh, okay, well, what did that mean? Do I look okay? Do I sound okay? But you're just genuinely present all of a sudden. And ooh, when you are present, that contributes to magnetism. People feel your presence when you are present. So that's a whole other podcast episode, but I think I really like hammered it in with the magnetism here. And I just love playing with magnetism. So anyways, getting comfortable alone increases your magnetism. And this is like one of the most fun attributes a person can have, in my opinion. I think you're already getting convinced that being comfortable being alone will help you, but if you need a couple more reasons, being comfortable alone gives you a ton of more freedom. Think about the scenario here. Say you want to go out to this restaurant, they're having something special tonight, and your friend cancels on you. Well, what are you going to do? Just not go. Same thing with a trip. Well, you want to go somewhere, but maybe someone else doesn't have the funds all lined up, or they don't want to go to the same destination as you. What are you going to do? Just deprive yourself of the experience because you're too afraid to go alone? Not over here, you're not. So when you are free, it gives you, oh my gosh, it gives you so much more flexibility, because not only that, but you're no longer manipulatable. Like, a lot of people stay in manipulation scenarios because they don't want that person to leave. But if I already know I'm okay alone, like that person, all their job is to do is add to your life. And as soon as they're not adding to your life, well, there's a problem here, because I'm completely 100% comfortable being alone. So you're not trying to control anyone anymore. Okay, they need to come with me to this concert. I don't want to go alone, like da 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 da. You can just simply say, hey, would you like to come? If not, okay, that's my plan anyways. I'll catch you later. And this in turn creates better connections. Other people who are authentic, magnetic, and okay being alone, they don't want to be around someone who is not okay being alone. You're not placing expectations or neediness on a relationship, needing that person to always be by your side. I need you to do this with me. I need you to do this for me. I need you to be here simply so that I feel comfortable, simply so that I feel safe. And so what this all is essentially about is training your nervous system that, hey, it is safe to be alone. It is safe to be in quiet. It is safe to be out in the world. I mean, even as a woman, you might feel like, hey, like there's a safety issue with me being alone. And while I deeply honor and respect where that perspective is coming from, and I extend my empathy to all the victims that have experienced, problems because of other human beings, I do not let that fear control my life. If I let that fear control my life, I wouldn't have as much fun. And I've told people before, I would literally rather die than dim down the experience of my life. So that is the trade-off I am willing to make. I'm not saying you have to decide that for yourself, but a lot of fear-mongering is partly an illusion. And if you are someone that's on the path of self-mastery, on the path of self-improvement, there comes a time where you genuinely do have to ask yourself, okay, what do I really value here? Would I rather have the result that I want, or would I rather choose my choices out of fear? And this is a serious decision. I mean, this isn't a one and done decision, like you're just going to decide immediately. No, it's something to sit with, because choosing the path of I'm going to do what I really want to do and have the results that I want, it's fucking hard, okay? It was not easy for me to say, okay, I'm going to solo travel to Bali. Literally the furthest that I could get away from my support system, the furthest I could get away from America, right? So it's not always easy to just trust, hey, I'm going to be safe even if I'm not safe. You get what I'm saying? So it comes down to what you value. Do you value adventure? Do you value truth? Do you value excitement and freedom over safety? For me, the answer is a clear yes. I would rather take the risk and do something that is slightly questionable, and have the result of having what I want to have. And this is not like, crazy things. For some people it is like, do you go, I don't know, skydiving is one of them. Do you go with this person that you just met when you're traveling and, go to their home? You don't know what's going to happen there. So it's comes up in nuanced situations, right? And I'm not saying throw all caution to the wind. I'm not like that at all. I'm very strategic about what I choose, right? But this is for things like solo traveling. I mean, some women will not solo travel because of the fear there. This is going out at night. This is walking alone in the park. I am going to do those things alone, even if it is dark. I mean, there's limitations, context clues and where are you? But you don't want to use some programming like that to stop your progress. And that's all I'll say about that for now. So I shared a little bit about my story, but let me tell you, I am overqualified to teach this because I literally used to be someone who was afraid to go into the grocery store alone. I would be afraid to go into clothing stores alone because I'm afraid that the employees are going to judge me. I'm getting too many clothes off the rack. I'm not fitting it. This one I don't want to buy. Like anything that could possibly make one anxious, made up mind stories, I would be there, going in loops in my brain to the point where I wouldn't go clothing shopping. I wouldn't go to the store. I'm an only child, so I had my parents, help me out a lot. Like, hey, will you come to the store with me? Until it got to a point where it was like, either I'm gonna have to go to the store alone or I'm not gonna have food. So I had to make, those decisions. And now I could do anything alone. I've spent times in my life where I've had no friends. I've spent a good chunk of my life single. I've been, traveling solo around the world without a travel companion. I have been out to restaurants alone. I've been to events alone. I could sit alone in my room all day and not be lonely. I'm talking about alone in solitude, not lonely. And so I've learned a lot through this process of being in the extreme of, okay, I'm literally afraid to go to the store, and traveling alone, doing things that people tell me, this is not smart, Siva, this is dangerous. But it all came back to, well, what life did I want to have? Did I want to have that adventure of having a solo trip in my 20s? Yeah, of course I did. And so getting the courage to do things like that, it takes a leap and it takes some faith, but I'm here to tell you exactly how you can make those changes so that you not only feel safe doing things like that, but you learn how to make it easy, you learn how to make it fun, and you find that that deep appreciation for yourself. The best thing that I have learned from being alone was not about traveling, not about making new friends or being able to go out and eat dinner alone, but really feeling into my soul. When you are quiet with yourself, you can feel your essence. When you're quiet with yourself, you get to know yourself. And when you can say, there's no one I'd rather spend time with, there's no one I'd rather listen to, there's no one I'd rather be with, there's no one that I love more, there's something so special about cultivating a relationship with yourself. And once you've cultivated that deep relationship with yourself, it makes it so much easier to connect with others because you have so much empathy within yourself for yourself. You're not spewing, things that are really about yourself onto other people and, making relationships unnecessarily hard because of a lack that you feel within. When two people that truly love themselves come together in union, it is beautiful because the union, the partnership, it's all about serving each other. It's all about enjoyment. It's all about fulfillment, and it feels fantastic. Everyone is complete, and so more completeness comes, right? Two halves do not make a whole in this case scenario. And so if you really want to have one of those delicious experiences within love and even friendship, you definitely want to come with your tank 100% full, not just for that other person, but for yourself, so that you can experience those real relationships of fulfillment. Because until you have completed yourself, you'll think that someone else can do it or something else can do it. Things won't click until you realize, I am the missing piece. I always was the missing piece. No one else can fulfill me. I am fulfilled. I am whole as I am. I am beautiful. I am perfect as I am. And everyone really deserves to feel this way. And that's exactly why I do what I do. Now, this wasn't a thing that was overnight for me. Over time, I took steps to get myself from really anxious, really depressed to where I am now. And so I don't want you to compare your journey. You're on your journey. You're on your time. But there are things that you need to be doing to push yourself in the direction that you want to go. If you're not feeling a little bit out of your comfort zone, no growth is happening. Even to this day, I'm always doing things that are out of my comfort zone. I will forever do things that are out of my comfort zone, even when I'm 83 years old, because I understand that there's no possible limit to what we can experience as humans. And the more that we expand, the more expansion is possible, and the more expansion that we have the privilege to experience. So there's even more and more and more. And so this isn't a destination situation. The destinations are cool pit stops for sure, but this is a dedication and a devotion to yourself to be the person that you want to be, right? It's more than just being able to feel confident and feel sexy, right? It's deciding I'm going to be that person that loves myself no matter what, and that is always doing the best that I can for myself and for those around me. And when you make that decision, you'll be able to fuel your journey with something. And it's you always hear this, and until you experience it for yourself, it doesn't click from my own life experience, but it really is all about the journey. And so I encourage you to embrace that feeling of fear along this journey, because it's just a stepping stone to get to your next space, and it will never go away. I still am doing things that cause me a little bit of friction, and I like it that way. And in my one-on-one Limitless Love coaching program, I help people figure out what it means to them to have a fulfilling life experience in that way, and then take the steps to get them closer there, surpass it, and keep on getting out of their comfort zone. So the original question is, though, what is going to bring you meaning along this journey? What's getting out of your comfort zone all for? If it's to have that result of that magnetism and feeling good, all of that is great. But it's important to think about, okay, what do I want my life to be? End game, end goal here. What is the vision I have for myself? And then when you have that vision, it makes it super clear and easy to just keep pushing your own boundaries. And that's also what a coach is for. It's to help you see the thing that you don't really want to see yet, because it's out of your comfort zone. And so when you get out of your normality, when you get out of your habitual stuff, you become a different person. And doing that allows you to continue on expanding and growing. So it's important to say, lonely and alone are not the same thing. If you're feeling lonely when you're alone, that's a completely separate issue. When you are alone, it's a privilege because you're getting to connect with yourself. And so, a lot of my Limitless Love program is about connecting with yourself and giving yourself whatever you need so that you're not feeling that loneliness. But if it comes up when you are alone, you can simply acknowledge that and know that being alone and being lonely aren't necessarily connected. We often think it's connected, right? I'm alone, I'm lonely. But the truth is, you can feel lonely in a crowded room. The truth is, you can feel lonely in a relationship with your spouse. Lonely is a feeling of disconnection and the feeling that you are completely alone in the world. And that is one of the greatest illusions that we can have, because we are loved eternally. We are never alone. We are never truly alone. And when you can experience that, not just logically understand it, right? But really have that inner standing, you won't feel that way anymore. And it becomes a separate issue, even if it does come up, right? So I want you to start discerning the difference between I am physically alone versus I am feeling alone. I am feeling lonely. And if you have that feeling, that's okay. We honor our feelings. We honor that and we acknowledge it. We don't repress it. Yet you still can make that discernment and make choices based on your emotional compass, right? And that gets into other things, using your emotions as compass. But really, when you are emotionally balanced, that is what your emotions are for, is to tell you what's going to work for you and what's not going to work for you. So really, what I want you to stretch yourself in is asking, okay, how do I enjoy my own company? Because if you don't enjoy your company, how is someone else going to? We said that earlier. So when you're with friends, how do you enjoy company? When you're with a partner, how do you enjoy company? And transferring that to being alone. If it's chatting, I mean, when was the last time you checked in on yourself? Seriously, this sounds crazy, like talking to yourself, but really, how do you feel? What's going on? Tell me about it. Tell me about it is a phrase that I use with myself all the time. If I notice something, maybe an emotional discomfort come up, I'm like, tell me about it. And that's not necessarily me sitting there talking about it, but it's an invitation for my body to expose and stop the resistance to whatever it wants to process, right? And so when we give our bodies the floor to communicate what they want to communicate to us, not only do we have more clarity about what the next best step is in our life, what our body wants, nourishment, food, water, all of that good stuff, but emotionally, it allows things to clear out, allows old patterns to flee, and it allows you to become more in tune with yourself as a person. So like listening to the subtle pulls of your soul, listening to what's exciting, and overall, you become a more expansive person because of this, because you are truly embodied in yourself. And that goes all the way back to what we talked about: magnetism, confidence, embodiment, and presence, right? This is exactly what you're getting when you are being comfortable with yourself, when you are knowing yourself and creating this relationship. So really, I mean, a way that you could sit down and ask yourself, you could ask yourself in the main areas of life, how am I really doing? What's really going on here? Your sleep, your eating, your friendships, your relationships, your sexuality, your laughter, all of these different things, and being super honest. I mean, a lot of times we kind of ignore what we don't want to work on or what we don't want to expose. And so this is creating the space of unconditional, radical, unconditional love. No matter what is exposed here, our deepest, darkest secrets, things that we don't want to admit to anyone else, we're giving ourselves permission to look at it, and the light of our awareness heals it, right? So even just expressing it to ourselves, once that we can share the truth to ourselves, the truth will set you free, baby. It is so true. The truth will set you free. So getting in alignment with your own truth of what's really going on will set you free faster than just hoping life gets better. But back to enjoying your own company. So part of being alone is learning to do those things that might feel a little awkward doing alone. Going to an event alone. Ooh, what a scary deal. Going to a restaurant alone, everyone is here with somebody. I can't eat alone. What the hell? Taking that trip alone. If that's how you enjoy your time with other people, why not do it with yourself? So I want you to ask yourself, what do I do with other people? What do I really enjoy? And a matter of fact, if I knew no one was watching, well, how would I spend my time? And here's the thing about that. No one really is watching. It's a ego megalomaniac idea that if we go out in public and, people are judging us, they're seeing us and they're not liking us. The first part that's megalomaniac is like, A, you're not that uber spectacular that everyone is just going to turn their heads and completely abandon what they're doing to just judge you. And I'm not saying that in the way to like put you down or like make you not a big deal energy that you are, but acknowledging the humility of, okay, this is the truth. And yeah, of course there's going to be people that judge you, but is that really worth sacrificing your life over? And most of the time, like I said earlier, people are so involved in their own inner world, in their problems, in their experience, maybe it's really good, in their joys, in their pains, in their judgment of others or themselves, that they're not even really noticing you. And if they're noticing you, they're probably watching a projection that they've created of you. They're not really looking at you, they're looking at what their mind says you are. And so that kind of gives you the freedom to know, okay, well, I'm just here enjoying my experience as a human being, as everyone else. I'm just an aspect of everything. I have the permission and the freedom to move about this space just like anyone else. And so getting a little humility in this way can do you some good, because it's like not the complete opposite of like, oh, I'm not even good enough for people to see me. Because like I'm talking about, if you're embodied, 100% people do notice you and your attitude. But it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? It's like, either way, I mean, they like me, okay. They don't like me, okay. And the honest truth is, when you are embodied and when you are authentic, you will have that polarizing effect. Of course, you'll have people in your life that are super into you, like, oh my gosh, I can't get enough of this girl. I need to be around her. But you'll have the opposite as well. People that are like, you're fucking weird, you're odd, you have a podcast and you like aliens and you eat lettuce. Whatever they think is weird, because people will make up their own interpretations of what is weird based on their own perception, right? People can only perceive you from their current level of perception. So what I'm saying is just getting a little bit more flexibility and being okay being perceived. And this is its own podcast as well. But getting comfortable being seen will change your life, because it's tied to everything. If you're not comfortable being seen by strangers, you're not comfortable being seen by your lover, you're not comfortable being seen by your friends, you're not comfortable being seen by your family. And the more comfortable that you are being seen, the more your opportunities goes up, the more your income goes up, the more you are embodied in who you truly are. And so healing a little bit of that fear around being seen can do a lot of good, even though it is painful at first. I mean, I know well for myself. I mean, the first time I posted on TikTok, it wasn't because I wanted to be seen by millions. Hell no. I actually, maybe some of you all know this if you've tuned in for a while, I filmed TikToks for a month before I posted any of them. And it got to a point where I felt I had something burning, like to share. It was so important to me to share that I totally had to let go of my pride and say, it really doesn't matter, because this is so important to me to share, right? So what I'm getting at is I struggled myself, putting myself out there. What will such and such from high school think? What will my friends think? I'm like, on TikTok being really cringy. Even some of the stuff I post now, I'm getting more vulnerable in what I share. And it comes up sometimes. Hey, this is intimidating. I'm really being seen. I'm not just being fake seen because I'm putting out things that make me look good or things that I want people to see. But no, this is like real deal shit. Like this is my deepest, darkest struggles, my deepest, darkest secrets, right? And so sometimes I even ask myself this question: what are you afraid that the world is going to see? And when you understand things, you understand that nothing is really secret. And the more comfortable that you get with being seen, even in the dark stuff, the more you're letting go of that shame. And you're getting a lot more freedom, because shame and hiding and fear is such a dense energy, and it really bogs you down. And so when you know, okay, what am I afraid that they're going to see? Half the time it's a lie. I'm afraid they're going to see that I'm not lovable, and I'm never going to be good, and la 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 la. It's baby things, like the things that your 3-year-old self was super upset about, was super shy about, and they created this personality that you wear now because they didn't want anybody to see that they're possibly flawed, because that would mean maybe they're not lovable. And you can tell that 3-year-old self, I love you. I'm never going to abandon you. I'm never going to leave you. You are loved more than you understand. You are loved beyond measure. You are loved beyond your ability to even consider. So when you start loving yourself and tending to yourself in that way, that little part of you that goes, oh, I can't do this, starts to fade away. It's like, well, even if I fail, I'm still going to be loved. I'm hearing from myself. I'm going to love you no matter what. And I've built this relationship with myself. It feels true. I'm going to be loved no matter what. Even if I make the worst mistake possible, I'm still going to be loved. Even if they find out about me, all of my darkest secrets of why I shouldn't be loved, I'm still going to be loved. I'm still comfortable because I have that love for myself. Your life will radically shift at that point. And you'll be an entire new identity, entire new person, because you're finally free to just be you, because you're not acting out of fear. You're not creating things out of lack. So to get into the practicalities of this, if you decide, okay, I'd like to do this, I'd like to be comfortable doing this thing alone, one thing that you might do if you're super uncomfortable at first is create an intention. And sometimes I even do this. Sometimes my intuition will tell me things and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't want to do that. And for example, my intuition one time said, go back into the room that you just left. And literally no one was there that I knew anymore. Everyone was leaving. I was walking to leave. What the hell? I do not want to go back. That's weird. That's weird. I have no business being back here, right? In this public space. So I go, okay, the front desk lady, she seems really nice. I'll just go talk to her. And so that was my intention that I could relax into. It might have been too much for my brain to say, okay, I'm just going to walk and see what happens, right? Sometimes I do that, but other times when it's harder, I make an intention and something beautiful. I ended up making a beautiful life-changing connection from doing that. Not with the front desk lady, but someone else that came and approached me while I was with the front desk lady. And so it was like, cha-ching, I'm glad I listened to my intuition. But what I'm getting at is, if your thing is like, okay, I want to go to the restaurant. Maybe you have the intention, okay, I'll listen to this lecture. I'll listen to Siva's podcast while I'm at the restaurant and, feel into that a little bit more. Maybe if you're my client, maybe I'll listen to Siva's meditation that really helps me relax and create my reality while I'm at the restaurant. Or play one of the games that I give my clients to create whatever reality that they want to experience at the restaurant. So maybe you're creating having someone pay for your meal at the restaurant like I do with my friends when I go out. Let me tell you, if I go out with my friends, that's what happens. We always play these games to have someone come and pay for our tab, and it always happens. Anyways, different podcast. But as far as creating the intention, you might say, okay, I'll take my headphones. Or if it's walking, that used to be a big thing for me. I was like, I can't walk. I don't have a dog. Well, why are you? People are going to look at me and ask, why are you walking? You don't have a purpose. So I would pick out destinations. If I wouldn't want to walk just to walk, which is, maybe if you're listening to this, you're like, Siva, that's insane. But this was my experience, So I would make myself, okay, I'm walking to this destination. I have a purpose. And so your mind, when you have a purpose, when you have something you're focusing on, it kind of melts. And the key here, I really believe, is the focus. Because when you are anxious about being out alone or being alone, it's because your focus is directed on yourself. What are they thinking about me? Is what I'm wearing good enough? Do I smell? Do I have something in my teeth? Is my hair in the right spot? Do they think I'm good? Do they think I'm bad? And so when you change your focus from things like that to either habitually paying attention to other people and being super uber present, or maybe you direct your attention to something like an intention. Okay, I'm going to the restaurant and I'm paying attention to my phone. I'm going to the restaurant and I'm walking to the restaurant. That's my intention. So it's really about focus. And when you understand that at the root cause, you won't ever be anxious again. For example, one time a guy came up to me and I got a little nervous because it was quite abrupt that he just popped into my face, and I'm like, ah. But I caught that and I'm like, okay, my attention is inward. I'm worrying about how he's perceiving me. Let me flip it for a second. Let me be really present with him and see how he's holding up. And as soon as I did that, I realized he's way more nervous than me. He's trembling. He's shaking. And so it's almost comical when you're not present, all the little details that you miss. So it's 100% a focusing is what I'm getting at. When you are afraid, it's because your focus is just in the wrong place. And all you have to do is move it to somewhere else and you'll create a different experience. And pretty soon when you do that, your focus is habitually somewhere else. You're not thinking anymore, okay, well, is my outfit okay? No, you're present. It's your new reality. It's your new habitual thought pattern. You're not thinking about yourself anymore. Maybe you're even thinking about that other person. Is this in alignment with me? If you're on a date or something like that, you're thinking, is this in alignment with me? And beyond even thinking that way, what I'm usually thinking about is, what am I most curious about? What's really interesting about this person? What do I want to learn from what they have to say? What do I want to learn about their values? So it's not about judging the other person before they can judge you, but how you want to have your attention and what you want to have it on. So the more that you do this, you're rewiring your brain, and the less intimidating it feels. Now it's like it's not even a thought. Even sometimes I'll do things that feel out of my comfort zone, but at this point I know I can do it, and then after doing it once, it's like, meh, I need something else to get me out of my comfort zone now. To wrap this up, I want to tell you, anything that you want to experience with a friend or a partner, I want you to do it for yourself. And when you create this environment of doing things for yourself, not only do you just feel like princess treatment, like beautiful goddess energy, but you start to attract it. It was hilarious. I made this video on my Instagram at Siva Soul, if you want to check it out, about how 1 year, it was like my New Year's resolution. It was like, man, I'll just date myself. Like any fun experience I want to go on, I'll just take myself. If I want flowers, I'll just get them myself. If I want to go out on a fun date, I'll just date myself. And this wasn't like a hyper independent thing. It was like an enjoyment thing, right? And what I realized was the ratio was almost 1-for-1. When I was making this video, I looked at videos that I had taken of the flowers I had gotten myself, and the flowers that someone else has gotten me, and the trips I had taken myself on, and the trips that someone else had taken me on, and then the, places I had taken myself, and the places someone else has taken me on. That one probably the ratio is a little bit different, but it was hilarious because it was almost 1-for-1 the ratio at which the depth at which I took care of myself, someone else is suddenly available to do, which if you understand universal law, that makes perfect sense. Like attracts like, and things like that are correspondence, not a coincidence. So the more that you feel comfortable in receiving that from yourself, the more you're comfortable receiving it from someone else. Honestly, my heartfelt intention for you, if you're watching this far, is getting clear on what do you want from other people? What do you want from life? And giving that to yourself. Granting yourself those experiences, even if it has to do with acting as if, where you might not have the funds to take yourself on a trip, but maybe you can put your bathing suit on under your clothing and go to the Myriad Gardens like I did the other day because I wanted to pretend that I was in tropical paradise, and I took a coconut down there and drank my coconut in public. And I wasn't supposed to really have any food or drink in there, but it's technically water. You're allowed to have water in there. It's coconut water, right? So I looked a little weird doing that, but it was fun for me. I got to pretend I was in the tropics on a day it was snowing. Like, that was so much fun. And so any experience that you want to make, even if you have to kind of, be a bit imaginative, create it for yourself. It's my invitation to you. And if you're listening to this podcast, if you made it this far, don't just take my word for it. Do it. Actually, do your stuff, gang. Like whatever you want to experience, don't just take my word for it. Create it for yourself. And if you are 100% ready to create this reality where you feel that deep, unconditional love for yourself, you're attracting high quality men that also want to serve you. You're attracting soulmate friends that you just connect with on a deep level, and they see you, they get you, and they love you for who you are. Please do not hesitate to reach out for me. Go to my Instagram, go to my TikTok, comment love, click the link in my bio, and let's work together, because this version of you isn't as far as you might think. So the closer that you get to that self-love, the closer that you will get to that external circumstance happening. It was hilarious today. I was watching a video of me kind of setting intentions, and I was like, I want to have high quality men in my life, know how to talk to high quality men, know how to interact with, where to find them. And I was laughing so hard because the life that she was asking for was I have it now. And so if it's not a coincidence, if you want something that you want it only because it's in your field, and you want it only because it serves your soul in a certain way. If it's something that you truly want, not a fake want, which, one-on-one we can discern the difference. But I'm telling you, if you have some desire within yourself, it's not that far away. It's in your field. And let's get you closer to that goal and your hallmark of success, whatever that may be within your personal love journey. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I really hope that this content delivered some value to you. If it did deliver value to you, please, share this with a friend. Share it with someone who you really feel could benefit, or share, subscribe. You do your deal. And it really helps me, and it helps me continue to do this work. So I really appreciate you, and I will catch you next week. Peace and love at ya. Bye, queen.